Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. I called out Coach Rob, and because of a coach that told me a long time ago that a backhand is a lot easier to hit than a forehand. Stay tuned. All right, guys, so a coach of mine, when I was first learning the backhand, said that your backhand is a lot easier to hit than a forehand. But at that time, I was like, that can't be right, because it's more natural for all of us, not just me, to turn around this way and haul off on a forehand. So I obviously didn't believe him back then. So I wanted to revisit that question, and we're talking 35 years later. And I got Coach Rob with me. And can you elaborate on what my coach back then was trying to tell me? Here's a racket.
Well, think about, how do you usually start a rally?
Forehand.
There you go. So everybody is hitting more forehands than they are backhands by the virtue of you're starting the rally with a forehand. So that's kind of why your forehand is kind of a natural, it's sort of your swing. It's depending on how you do it, it's your kind of muscle memory. On the backhand, if you have a two-hander or a one-hander, you're swinging around your body. So you're swinging from your hips around to your shoulders. You're going from pocket to shoulder. You're not swinging into your body. You're swinging around, right? Mm-hmm. So it is more natural to go this way than it is to bring your racket into you. So I think that would be what he was trying to say, is in terms of natural or easier, this motion is easier because you're coming around yourself versus around right in front of yourself. And so when I know a lot of people will come back and they go, I have a bad backhand and a good forehand. And then they start playing and all of a sudden their backhand's really good. They're like, dude, your backhand's great. He goes, my backhand was always terrible. My forehand is now all wonky because I haven't been playing. So I don't have any timing. I don't have any feel. It comes back as you play more, but the backhand is usually, if you're a two-hander, your top hand's pushing and your bottom hand's pulling and around you go. If it's a one-hander, you're swinging, like the gate closed or whatever way you're trying to explain it. So I think that could be what your coach was referencing back in the day.
He also used the word, it's simpler with less steps. Like he basically broke it down where it's literally 1, 2, 3 kind of a thing, almost, or 1, 2, 3, 4, like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
Whereas
or it could have been back in the day. I mean, you can even still teach it this way. You can still turn, step, and hit.
Right.
Like
with a backhand.
Right.
Yes.
You can do that with a forehand. You can still turn, step, and hit.
Right. But he was trying to tell me that there were more ways to screw up a forehand, because you basically didn't have to turn to hit, turn and step to hit it. You could hit it like this.
You could hit open.
You could hit it like this. You could basically slap at it or do whatever you want. You can get the forehand through. But the backhand was like, you actually have to turn.
Right.
You have to turn. You have to literally step to do it right. And then you have to drive through it. So it's like what you said. It's kind of these have to turn.
And when you do that, when Harry does that, go ahead, hang on to it. You notice, if you look at Harry's left hand, that's what's turning him. If he took his right hand off and now go ahead, turn for a backhand, he's going to pull the racket back with his left hand. Right? Now, if he puts his hand back on, he can make his grip change, do what he needs to do, and now he's relaxed, and he's going to step in and then try to look good. and then follow through.
Right. But if you don't step in with this, I mean, you can
still hit it open, sure.
But it's not as natural, it's not as easy.
Right. And when you're learning, you weren't probably learning open stance. We didn't hit open stance a whole lot when we were kids.
Definitely not a backhand.
No, no. So, but if it was just you're trying to build the foundation of, trying to get some good form.
Right.
Turn, step, hit was a easy way to do it.
Since we just simplified the backhand, let's talk about why the forehand is so hard.
Well, it's more of a feel. Like, it depends on how you take the racket back, right? So I take it back, I lift it up. I have my left hand, out for spacing. So I got my unit turn, and then I'm stepping in with me and my old grip. We're trying to hit it here out in front, finish up over the shoulder. I like catching the racket. So I come back to the ready position. There's lots of players that finish like this. Mm-hmm. That's fine. They still have to get their left hand on the grip at some point to get back to the ready position.
Right.
I think catching it kind of is like the end of the race. I know if I catch it, I finish my swing.
Right.
If I finish here, I didn't follow through. If I'm finishing here, that's not it. I can get the racket to come over. Some people will say, hey, check the time on your watch, if you're something visual or whatever, but.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's where we run into the simplification of the backhand, because the way you explain the forehand, there's many ways you can do it.
Right. You can take it back straight. You can, some people, the racket's too heavy for them. Some kids are down here, come in here, some make a big giant C, or like the swoosh, like on his shirt, the Nike swoosh, the faster the game, the smaller the take back. If the ball's slower, you have more time. You can make a little bigger loop on it.
So there's all these options that you can literally change on every shot.
Based on,
in the same rally.
Right.
Right? In the backhand, do have all those options?
Not as many. You're either going to take it back, you can either slice it, but usually you either come back in a nice simple turn, you can drop it in your pocket and come over. Mm-hmm. It's not as, as many.
Right. Right. Not too many options.
Right. And it's just a simple straight back or a little turn, boom. You can do that still on this side too, but this is just seems to be more of a feel, because you always start the ball with a forehand, start the rally. I have a lot of my students make them start the rally with their backhand. My backhand's not good. Start the rally with your backhand, right? Yep. Like, take your racket back, toss the ball up, let it bounce, hit it over. So I think a lot of times if people can start a rally with their backhand, of course it's going to feel awkward and difficult at first, but you'll get it. Or start it if you're hitting on a wall. Instead of just rallying 500 forehands in a row, start it, hit more backhands.
Okay. So guys, the backhand is actually a simpler shot than a forehand. There aren't as many options, let's say.
A little more natural.
Right.
Doesn't always mean the backhand's going to be, you may not mentally think the backhand's better. Your forehand, you can do more things with it usually.
Right.
Your forehand down the line, forehand cross court, you can lob it.
Right.
Those are all things you can do more easily with your forehand. People don't tend to lob as well with their backhand. You can still slice and top it, but the backhand down the line is obviously a harder shot. The net's higher, court smaller.
Right.
More times than not, you're going to hit your backhand cross court or down the middle. Forehand tends to be the weapon. Backhand, keep in play.
Right. Got it. So, is it true? Is my teacher right? Is my coach right?
I don't want to knock a fellow tennis professional who may or may not still be with us at this stage, but, I'd hate for you to think that this whole time you were thinking your backhand's, oh my God, my backhand's so hard, it's so difficult.
Right.
If it's not your best shot and someone explains it to you and tries to make you think it's easier, hopefully you won't have a mental block on hitting the backhand.
Got it. No, I did feel it though. After a while, it kind of sunk in, and it basically was just kind of, boom. That was it. One option, just boom, and that was it. I mean, obviously, if I'm slicing, it'll be different, but
you still have to turn first.
Right. But yeah, it's either this or it's this. That's it. So whereas forehand, I can this, this,
Right.
this.
Right.
So is it a simpler shot? I think so. 30 years later, I definitely think so. What do you guys think? Is a backhand hard? Do you run around it just because you're not comfortable with it and your timing is off with it and you're just not, confident at it? Is that the reason? If that's the reason, I'd say take a lesson and learn it the proper way.
Don't be afraid of it.
Yeah, don't default into your way.
Don't be the guy that stands in the alley hitting a return to serve on the ad side like this because he doesn't want to hit a backhand.
Right.
Right? At some point, you got to want a backhand.
Right. I know. I was there many times. All right. I want to thank Coach Rob for answering the 35-year-old question. Is a backhand simpler than a forehand? I personally do think so. Now and like a while ago, but I just felt like I should share this because I know everybody out there is trying to run around that forehand because they see it on TV. The pros do it all the time, right? Because that's their weapon. The forehand is their weapon. All right, so don't be afraid of it. Hit the backhand. Want to thank Coach Rob for hanging out with me today. Thank you, Coach Rob.
Of course.
All right, guys, taking us out today, my new buddy George from Houston?
Yeah.
Wow. It's 130 degrees out there today. Good thing it's only 100 here. Huh, buddy? Mm-hmm. All right, take me out today.
Thank you for watching Tennis Spin, to where we put our spin on your tennis.
Most people, they quit tennis because, it's hard to find somebody to play with, right? I just feel so lucky to have my buddy Coach Rob, that we have so much in common. We're both kind of follically impaired. Ain't that right, Coach Rob?
Us follically challenged friends have to hit together.
Yes. So I have Coach Rob. If you guys need a friend and you're follically impaired or are a bearded one and looking for your bearded mate, right? Check out Player Court. They have people that look like you, play like you, maybe act like you. Check out their site. It's playercourt.com. Your tennis buddy can teach you how to twirl. You'll get it someday.
Hopefully better than that. We'll have to keep practicing, Eric.